right, friends, we're gonna get started with our blocks. Again, if you don't have 2 yoga blocks, you can do this with a rolled up blanket. If you're using blocks, you'll set them up in this orientation, medium height, highest height. If you're using a blanket, you'll just fold it a few times and then roll it up so you have kind of like a medium length blanket roll. And then you'll sit in front of your blocks or a blanket. The blanket roll or first block is going to go right about at the base of your shoulder blades. So you can see I'm placing the block, aka, or the blanket roll, underneath the upper back, not the low back. The second block, if you're using it, is to support the head. If this is too intense of a back bend, bring each block down 1 degree so that the block under your head is only 1 degree higher. If the blanket roll is too intense, unroll it a few times. Rest your arms by your sides, turn your palms up to face the ceiling, and then stretch your legs out in front of you so your legs are straight but all the way together. Big toes touch, just a little space between the heels. And now flex your toes straight back towards your face and feel how when you flex your toes towards your face, your big toes pull back more. So I want you to pretend that there is a wall in front of your feet. Can you press the big toe mound, the ball of the foot, into the wall and then pull the outer edge of your foot back? So if your feet were actually against a wall, the big toe mound would be touching the wall but not the pinky toes. This allows the thighs to very slightly spin down so your legs are in a neutral position, just meaning that they're not splaying out. And then allow the eyes to close or soften. And start by inviting a slow but deep breath in through the nose. Gentle exhale or sigh out of the mouth. And then if it's comfortable, begin to find a steady breath in and out of the nose. See if you can even out your inhales with your exhales. Oftentimes our mind is elsewhere when we get on the yoga mat. It might be somewhere in the future, planning. It might be somewhere in the past, something that happened before class. So use the soft sound and the feeling of the rise and fall of the breath to really bring your attention back to what's actually happening in this moment. 1 more cycle of breath. And then allow the eyes to softly flutter open, letting a little bit of light in. Reach your arms up over your chest. So arms up towards the ceiling, palms face each other. Spin your inner arms towards the wall behind you. Spin your outer upper arms forward. And now direct your front ribs down and in towards the frontal hip bones. Press your thighs down, and keeping all that, start to reach your arms behind you. Send your arms as far back as you can. Doesn't matter how far back you can go. You don't win an award for sending your arms further back. But as you reach your arms back, can you keep those feet actions? Keep flexing your toes towards your face. Press forward with the big toe mound. Pull the pinky side of the foot back. Press your thighs down. Every inhale, reach back a little further. Every exhale, soften the front ribs in. Notice if the front ribs raised. Try to rein it in so that the movement is in the upper back and shoulders rather than primarily in the low back. 1 more inhale. And now exhale, bring your arms back over the chest, lower your hands to the floor, bend your knees, plant your feet on the ground, and then come off your blocks or blanket roll, however it's easiest. You could roll to one side or just sit upright. Bring your blocks somewhere near the top of your mat and make your way onto hands and knees in a tabletop position. Stack your shoulders over your wrist, your hips over your knees. Gently spread out your fingers. Inhale, draw the heart forward and up. Slide the shoulders back. Exhale, reverse, round the spine. Again, inhale, arch, open the front body. Exhale, round, open the back body. Do that a few more times on your own, just moving with the breath. Trying to keep the arms, the elbows straight, so the movement's primarily in the upper back. And then the next time that you come to that inhale position where you're arching your spine, you'll pause there. Really pull your heart forward and up, slide the shoulders back so you're creating this nice space in the upper back, but then lose any trace of a back bend in the lower body. Lengthen the tailbone towards the heels, lift the low belly up and in. Also keep the gaze slightly down so we're not overusing the neck. Walk your hands forward a big 2 to 3 inches. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart. Wrist creases parallel to the top of your mat. Tuck your toes under, push your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Glance back at your feet, make sure they're hip width apart and your inner heels are hidden behind you. Press down through every knuckle, every fingertip to really push your hips up and back, high up towards the ceiling behind you. Keep spinning your inner arms forward and wrap your outer arms in. Do that as you press into the thumb and index finger. If you feel the low back rounding, take a bend in the knees so you can send your hips higher. Relax the head and neck. Eyes and jaw, take a full breath in. Stay as you breathe out. Leading from the inner thigh, raise your right leg to the sky. Dial all your right toes to the floor, even the pinky toe. Straighten your arms, draw the belly in, take an inhale. Exhale, bring your knee in towards your nose, lift it as high as you can, and then quietly step your foot through. Get your toes in line with your fingers. Lower the back knee to the mat. Rise up to your low lunge. Sweep your arms forward and up. Root down through that front heel. Try to lift the front hip off your thigh. Gently lengthen the tailbone down. Take an inhale. Exhale, cactus your elbows out to the side, and then interlace fingers behind the back. Start to press your hands up and back as much as you're able to. Don't worry if your arms don't straighten all the way. Never force. Keep the crown of the head over the chest. Notice if you're jutting the chin forward. Think about knitting the front ribs in. One more breath. Now take the interlace towards the outside of your left hip. Right hand stays where it is. Place the left hand on the ground. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, keep the half bind as you twist to the right. Bend the front leg a little more, push your left thigh straight up towards the ceiling. Use your inhales to get longer from the crown of your head to your back heel. Use your exhales to twist, top ribs back, that right shoulder back. And then with your next inhale, raise that right arm to the sky. Exhale, bring your top hand down. If you have blocks, grab them. Otherwise, tense your fingertips. Take a breath in. Back heel stays high. Exhale, straighten the front leg. It's a very long pyramid pose. Let's pulse through that. Inhale, bend the front knee, heart forward. Exhale, straighten the leg. Last time, inhale. Exhale, straighten the front leg. And now keep your legs as they are. Reach your heart forward. Find a little more length in your spine. Keep the length in your spine. Relax the head and neck. Press into the right big toe mound. Squeeze the right hip back and in towards the left heel so 2 sides of the waist are equally long. And now go ahead, rebend the front knee, lose the blocks, and step to a plank pose. Take a full breath in, reach the heart forward as you push the heels back. Exhale, slowly lower all the way to the belly. Once you land, point your toes. Reach your arms straight back by your sides. Press down through the tops of your feet. Inhale, peel your head, your chest, your shoulders off the mat. Keep the gaze down so the back of the neck is long. Press into every toenail. Can you even press into your pinky toenails? Feel the inner thighs spin up. Do that as you firm the outer ankles in. Roll the heads of the shoulders away from the floor. Take another inhale. And now keep your chest up. Place your hands on the mat right underneath your elbows. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. Shoulders over wrists, lift the thighs. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Leading from the inner thigh, raise the left leg up. Turn all your toes to the floor. Straighten your arms, draw the belly in, take an inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose, lift it as high as you can, and step forward. Get the knee over the ankle, drop the back knee, rise up to your low lunge. As you raise your arms, descend the front ribs down and in. Take an inhale. Exhale, cactus the elbows. Interlace fingers behind the back, do the opposite thumb on top. Begin to press your hands up and back as much as you're able to. Doesn't matter how far back your arms go, but can you soften the front ribs in? So we emphasize the movement in the upper back, rather than relying on the easy mobility of the low back. Now bring your hands towards the outside of the right hip. Left hand stays where it is, place the right hand on the floor. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, keep the half bind, twist to your left. Keep bending the front leg, push the right thigh straight up. Every inhale, get longer from the crown of your head to your back heel. Every exhale, twist a little more. Soften the shoulders, even that bottom one away from your ear. And then last breath in, left arm to the sky. Tap hand down, grab your blocks if it's helpful, or tent fingertips. Take a breath in. Keep the back heel high, straighten the front leg. On the breath, inhale, bend the front knee. Exhale, straighten. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale, straighten the front leg, and now keep your legs as they are. Inhale, find a little more length in your spine. Stay to exhale, relax the head and neck. Press into the left big toe mound. Try to lift the thigh bone up into the hip socket so quads are engaged. And then rebend the front knee. Lose the blocks, step to your plank pose. Tops of thighs lifted, tailbone heavy. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all the way to the belly. Point your toes. Reach your arms straight back by your sides. Inhale, peel the head, the chest, the shoulders off the mat. And now leading from the inner thighs, hover the feet. Can you keep your legs straight and neutral? So it doesn't matter how high they are. Spin your inner thighs up as you firm the outer ankles in. Also lengthen the tailbone to the heels. Roll the heads of the shoulders away from the floor. Take another breath in. Keep the height of your chest, lower your feet. Place your hands down right under elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Use your legs, thighs lift, shoulders back. And exhale, down dog, hips up and back. Long breath in, long breath out. As you inhale, come high on your toes. End of your exhale, feet to your hands, step or hop forward. Lengthen at the top, reach your heart forward. Exhale, fold, relax the head and neck. Come all the way to stand, raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, arms by your sides. Find your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Big toes touch, little space between the heels, or feet about hip width apart. Turn your palms forward, feel the shoulders draw back, the collarbones broaden. Find a slight lift in the low belly. Inhale, raise your arms to the sky. Let's take a sun A. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips. Inhale, rock forward, heart forward. Plant your hands beside your feet, not in front of them. Step your left leg back. Right leg back, plank pose. Take a deep breath in. Your choice, either lower to the belly or halfway chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, shoulders over the wrist. Exhale, downward facing dog. And take a few breaths here. Come back to that soft and steady breath in and out of the nose. If you feel the low back rounding, then bend your knees. That way you don't overstretch the back body. If you're a more open, mobile body, and you're sinking through your armpits, or your head is much lower than your arms, try bringing more pressure to your fingertips. Feel an energetic lift in your forearms and armpits. That way you don't overstretch the front body. One more long inhale. End of your exhale, feet to your hands, step or hop forward. Lengthen at the top. Exhale, fold. Come all the way to stand. Reach your arms to the sky. And exhale, arms by your sides. Again, like that. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips. Inhale, heart forward. Plant your hands beside your feet. Step the right leg back. Left leg back, plank pose. Deep breath in. Exhale, either to the belly or halfway. Inhale, upward facing. Shoulders over the wrists, lift the thighs. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Press the chest to the thighs. Do that as you soften the front ribs in. Come back to that smooth and steady breath here, in and out of the nose. And now with your next inhale, come high on your toes, lift your heels. End of your exhale, step the right foot forward. Get your toes in line with your fingers and cheat your foot to the right an inch. Bend your front knee deeply, push your left thigh straight up. Squeeze the right hip back and in towards the left heel. Keep your chest low. Airplane your arms behind you, palms face down. Reach your sternum forward as you push the left heel back. Squeeze the right hip back and in towards the left heel. Keep pushing the left thigh up. Keep the weight in the front heel. Another breath. And now nice and slowly come up to a high lunge. Reach your arms to the sky. And now you're going to bend your back knee quite a bit. Work towards making your front thigh truly parallel to the mat. Root down through the front heel. Try to lift the front hip off your thigh and anchor your tailbone down. And now start to push your left thigh back. Straightening the back leg any amount, but keep bending the front knee. Keep the tailbone heavy. Push the left thigh back as you bend the front leg. Root down through the front heel. Lift the front hip off your thigh. Take one more inhale. Reach your arms up. Exhale, empty your hands to the mat. Step to your plank. Drop to your knees, point your toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, round your spine like a cat. Feel your pelvis tip backwards. Low belly draw up and in. Keep that. Reach your heart forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower just halfway. Inhale, press straight back up. Exhale, lower slowly. Inhale, press straight back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press back up. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, send the hips up and back. Inhale, come high on your toes, lift your heels. End of your exhale, step the left foot forward. Get toes in line with fingers, cheat your foot to the left an inch. As you bend the front leg, push the right thigh straight up. And now keep your chest low, airplane your arms back. If you need to keep hands on the floor, of course, do so. Bend the front leg, squeeze the left hip back and in towards the right heel and push the right thigh up. Heart forward, shoulders back, another breath. Slowly come up to a high lunge with a bend in the back knee. Work towards making your front thigh at a true 90-degree angle. Root down through the left heel, rebound the front hip off your thigh. Imagine you could hook your tailbone to your front heel. And now start to push the right thigh back. Make the back leg a little straighter. Keep bending the front knee. Lift the low belly. Push the right thigh back. One more breath. Reach up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step to your plank and drop to your knees. Point your toes. Take a breath in, chest forward. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press back up. Last time, exhale, lower. Inhale, press back up. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Take a long breath in. Stay for the breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, feet to your hands, step or hop. Lengthen at the top. Exhale, folds. Bring your big toes to touch, little space between the heels. Bend your knees, raise your arms, chair pose. Go down and back with the hips, up with the arms. Feel that lift in the low belly, sit a little lower. One more breath. Exhale, folds. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Plant your hands beside your feet. Either step to plank or hop to bent elbows. Chaturanga. Come through your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From your down dog, step the right foot forward. cheat your foot to the right, spin the back heel down, be heel to heel or wider. Rise up, warrior one. And then straighten your front leg. Push the left thigh back so there's no bend in the back knee. Find that lift in the low belly. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. One more time, inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. And now from here, interlace fingers behind the back. Take a breath in, lift your heart. Exhale, humble warrior. Dive forward and inside the front leg. You could keep hands at low back, especially if you're working with a shoulder injury, or send your knuckles up and over. Any amount. Keep bending the front knee. Squeeze the right hip in towards the midline as you push the left thigh back. Relax the head and neck. One more breath in. Exhale, release your hands to the floor. Come to the ball of your back foot and tap the back knee down. Point the back toes. Left hand stays down. Reach your right arm forward. And then up. And then back. As you reach the right arm back, turn your palm up. Feel how that opens the shoulder. And then from here, stay. If you're able to bend the back knee, grab the foot or ankle for the quad stretch, do so. Send your heart forward. If you have your foot, you can play with pressing it back, opening the chest. You can also play with bringing that foot to the outside of the left hip and see how that changes the stretch. Maybe you pulse it a couple of times. Lift the front ribs away from the floor. One more breath. Release your back foot, plant your hands, step to plank. Either come through a vinyasa or come straight to down dog. Your body always tells you what it needs. Sometimes we need to slow down and listen a bit. From your down dog, step the left foot forward, spin the back heel down. Be heel to heel or wider, rise up to warrior one. Straighten the front leg for a moment. Push the right thigh back. Lift the low belly. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Last time, exhale, bend and no pause. Interlace fingers behind the back. Do the opposite, thumb on top, chest up as you breathe in. Exhale, fold forward, humble warrior. Dive forward and inside the front leg any amount. Can you squeeze the left hip back and in towards the right heel as you push the right thigh back? Relax the head and neck. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Come to the ball of the back foot. Lower the back knee. Now right hand stays down. Reach the left arm forward. It's like you're drawing a semicircle. And then up. And then back. As you reach that left arm back, turn your palm up. Roll both the shoulders back. Option to stay as you are. Or if you're able to bend the back knee, reach for the foot or ankle. Do so. And I like to kind of play with pressing my back foot back if I have it, opening the chest. And then bring the foot towards the outside of the right hip. Notice how it changes the stretch, and wherever you're feeling the tightest or the stickiest, I encourage you to stay there an extra breath. It might not be where you want to stay, but it's where you need to stay to create more space there. Find a sense of ease there. One more breath. Release the back foot if you have it. Plant your hands. Step to your plank pose. Your choice, vinyasa or straight to down dog. Take a long breath in. And as you exhale, gently drop to your knees. Lower your elbows, your forearms to the mat. Interlace your fingers. Look at your elbows and make sure they are no wider than shoulder width apart. You might pin them in a little closer because skin on bones will slide. Now root down through outer wrist, forearms, elbows. Push the floor away from you. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, lift your hips, press your chest to your thighs, dolphin pose. You might walk your feet in a little bit. You might bend your knees. Try coming high on your toes. And then as you come high on your toes, again, root down through outer wrist, forearm, elbow. Now push the floor away from you. Lift up and out of the shoulders. And then can you press your chest to your thighs? Head is not on the ground, just barely grazing over. Keep rooting down through your forearms. Lift up and out of your shoulders. Press your chest to your thighs. Spin the inner arms forward. Wrap the outer arms in. One more breath. Exhale, drop to your knees. Come to a child's pose just for a breath. Let the hips melt back. You might want to rest the arms back by your sides. Give your shoulders a little break. And maybe roll out the forehead a couple of times. And try to slow the breath down. If it got a little short or shallow. As you inhale, roll up so you're sitting back on your heels. Swing your feet off to one side. And come to lay all the way down on your back. Once you're on your back, you're going to grab one of your blocks, bend your knees, place your feet flat on the ground, knees over the ankles, and be slightly pigeon-toed, meaning very slightly your toes are turned in more than the heels. Place your block in between your inner thighs. Rest your arms down by your sides. Press into your heels, and as you inhale, scoop your hips up towards the sky. And now shrug your shoulders under, but not down the spine, and interlace fingers behind the back or grab the outer edges of your mat. So really snug your shoulders under. You're trying to eventually get on your outer shoulders, not the upper back. Squeeze the block with your inner thighs. Root down through your heels to lift the hips. Root down through your outer shoulders to lift the chest. As you squeeze the block, lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees, forward. Emphasize the back bend in the upper back rather than the low. And now last piece, without actually moving your feet, energetically try to drag your heels back. So imagine your feet were glued to the mat. Don't actually move them, but energetically drag them back. One more breath in. Exhale, lower all the way down. Keep your feet on the ground. Move the block to the side. Try not to hug your knees into your chest. I know it's tempting, but we're gonna do one more back bend, and I don't want you to counter all that work we just did. Take a deep breath in. Stay for the breath out. Make sure your feet are flat, knees over the ankles. Be a little pigeon-toed. If you found the block useful, if you sometimes get low back pain and that time you didn't in bridge pose, feel free to use it again, or you can see what it's like without using it. So we're gonna start with bridge, and then I'll give an option to come to upward bow, aka wheel pose. If you're working with a shoulder or a wrist injury, you might skip upward bow today. Stick with wheel, work on holding it for about 20 breaths. If you wanna play with upward bow, really move slowly, mindfully, and only go into your expression of the back bend that makes sense for you, meaning we never force or push ourselves. Rest your arms by your sides. Press into your heels, lift your hips. Now if you're taking bridge, shrug your shoulders under, interlace fingers, do the opposite thumb on top, or grab the edges of your mat. If you're working on upward bow, plant your hands by your face. Your fingers face back. They can be a little out. Now with your next inhale, you're gonna lift and lower first to the crown of your head. So use your upper back strength. Lift and lower to the crown of your head. On the crown of your head, pin your elbows in. Shrug your shoulders back into socket. Start to press your chest back. You might roll towards the forehead a bit, and then big breath, lift up. We're never trying to straighten the legs in upward bow. We are trying to straighten the arms. You might walk your feet in a little bit. You can come high on your toes, but then try to bring the heels back down. Notice if your toes are splaying out, spin the inner thighs down. Lengthen the tailbone towards the backs of the knees. Take another breath or so. If you walked your feet in, walk them forward. Send your head back. As you lower, try to land with the knees over your ankles. If you're in bridge, lower vertebrae by vertebrae, and then come to constructive rest. Feet as wide as the mat. Knock the knees in. Rest your hands in a comfortable place. And I don't know about you, but my heart rate is up. I feel a little energized, which is a good thing. But now let's start to bring that energy down. Feel the connection of your feet on the ground, the earth supporting you. Now draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a very gentle squeeze. Place your feet on the floor. Cross the right ankle past the left knee. Get the entire ankle past your knee. Flex your toes. You might stay here, pressing that right knee and thigh forward. You might draw the legs into the chest, threading the hands behind the left thigh. Draw the left knee in towards the left shoulder. Press the right knee and thigh forward. Keep the shoulders relaxed, the jaw relaxed. Take another breath. And now keep the shape of your legs, release your arms, place the left foot down, slide the right knee all the way over your left so you're crossing at the thighs. Move the hips to the right, drop the knees to the left. Bring your arms out wide with your palms up and turn your gaze to the right. Allow the eyes to soften or close so that there's less outside distractions. Every exhale, maybe you're able to soften a bit more. And then come back towards center. Uncross your legs, place your feet on the floor. Cross the left ankle past the right knee. Get the bony part of the ankle just past your knee. Flex your toes. Feel free to stay exactly as you are or draw the legs into the chest, threading the hands behind the right thigh. Draw the right knee in towards the right shoulder and press the left knee and thigh forward. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And you've already done a lot of work. So allow yourself to soften a bit, to let go, to not try so hard. And now keep the shape of your legs, release your arms, place the right foot down so that you can slide the left thigh all the way over the right. Lift the hips, move the hips to the left, drop the knees to the right, and go and turn the gaze to the left. Bring your arms out wide, palms up. As you inhale, come back towards center. Uncross your legs, place your feet on the ground, bring your knees into your chest, giving yourself a big squeeze, thanking your body for all that it does for you each and every day. And then roll onto one side and slowly take your time, no rushing, almost like you're just waking up for the first time today. Make your way up into a seated posture. If it's helpful to sit up onto a block or your blanket, do so. So you can elevate your hips, find that length in your spine. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. Find a lift in your chest. Keep the lift in the chest. Lower the chin just to open the back of the neck and allow the eyes to either close or soften. Feel the effects of your practice settle in, noticing what qualities are present. Maybe there's a little more lightness to the body. Maybe it's a little more alert. Maybe it's a little more grounded. Maybe there's a little more space between each thought. And then take a slow but deep breath in through the nose. And an exhale or sigh out of the mouth. Namaste.